At what point is there any accountability here? Because I know there are a lot of people still defending Trump and they still think it's five-dimensional chess and he's winning. And, everybody's like an armchair tactician. And they're talking about how Minnesota's not really a retreat. And this Epstein thing is going really well and all the rest of it. They say about Trump that he hired all the wrong people. Well, Pam Bondi's the problem. Well, he's getting bad advice. Okay, who hired the people? They say, well, Kristi Noem, well, she's just an idiot. Trump needs a better person. Pam Bondi, she's just an idiot. Trump needs better. He's just getting bad advice. Okay, but this has been going on for 10 years. I lived through the whole first administration, and it was the same story. It's bad personnel. He's got bad advisors. He's getting bad advice. Okay, well, he's a grown man, and he's the president, and he's 100 years old. So, who hired these people? He did. He handpicked them. He hand-selected them. Who's taking the advice? He is. There's no excuse.
Right.
And then they want to blame it on the Biden administration. They say, well, this is Biden's DOJ. It's a Democrat op. This is left over from Biden. Okay, so why the fuck did we elect you then? We're a year in. We are a year into our golden age. We are 25% through with this second term. And you don't have it figured out by now? They're still blaming it on the Democrats? Isn't that kind of what they do with everything? Why is there no peace in Ukraine? Well, the Democrats left us a mess. Why is the economy still bad? Well, the Democrats left us a mess. Well, why are the Epstein files still covered up? Well, the Democrats ruined the DOJ. Okay, so why elect Republicans then? If Democrats get in, everything's their fault. If Republicans get in, everything's the Democrats' fault. If Trump gets elected, well, it's not really his fault. It's only the people that he hired that are at fault. I've been saying it for a long time. The problem is him. This is a difficult pill for people to swallow, and I get it, and I understand, and I know. The problem is him. He is fundamentally not up to the job. He is out to lunch. He has never been good at governing, not in the first term, not in the second term. He does not have it together. His people suck. The advice sucks. His instincts are terrible. And I'm sure he told Pam Bondi, you got to go out there in the House and you just got to go on the record. You got to go and play up our record and you got to dodge all this stuff about Epstein. Now, here's the problem for Trump. This Epstein scandal is not going anywhere. This is a huge problem.
Nope.
Everybody knows about it. We don't have censorship anymore, so people that are talking about it are not going to be banned. They're not going to be silenced or deboosted. And this is going to go straight into the midterms. What do you think the Democrat playbook is going to be in 2026? The Democrats have a major cash disadvantage going in, but the polls are favorable. Historically, it favors the opposing party. And they're going to run this Epstein thing. They're going to run it from now until the midterm elections. And you know what's going to happen? The Democrats are going to take the House. And what happens in 2027 when Democrats have a majority in the House? They get committees. They get subpoena power. And what do you think they're going to do throughout 2027? They're going to haul everybody before the House committee, the House Select Committee on Jeff Epstein, the House Select Committee on all these things, and they're going to drudge up all this stuff in 2027. They're going to compel testimony. They're going to compel the release of more documents, and they're going to put it in the media by talking about it and doing it, impeaching, indicting. They're going to put it in the media.
Oh, no, that's good.
And they're going to do it throughout 2027. Into 2028. And then it's going to be a story in the 2028 election. Okay? This isn't going anywhere because the Democrats are going to be pushing it. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. And here's the thing about all this. In a certain sense, Obviously, the Democrats are exploiting it for their advantage. Let's not be naive here. Okay, Democrats are implicated in the files just as much as Republicans. They just are. Bill Clinton was on Lolita Express. Howard Lutnick is inviting Epstein to a Hillary Clinton fundraiser. Epstein is using similar coded language, just like the Podestas were in the WikiLeaks emails with Pizzagate. So let's not pretend like anybody's innocent here. It's Republicans and Democrats. And it is true that the Biden administration had 4 years to release the files, and they didn't. So the Democrats are exploiting it. Here is the issue for Republicans. They ran on releasing the files, and more than that, they ran on draining the swamp. Isn't that the whole conceit of Trumpism? Isn't that the whole point? Trump ran in 2016 saying, we are going to drain the swamp. We are the voice for the forgotten men and women of America. I am not a politician. I am an outsider. And we're going to deliver a real victory. And we are going to get rid of the corruption. And we're going to make America great again. I mean, literally, that was the conceit of the first Trump administration. And I told you at the very beginning, there's something sort of richly ironic about this hearing. Because when I see Pam Bondi and she's fielding these questions and she's doing this Trumpian pivot and she says, you're a loser lawyer. You have Trump derangement syndrome. You're a failed politician. What about our record? She's channeling Trump. That's classic Trump. You're a loser lawyer. She's channeling Trump. But in a way, it's a sick farce. It's like a warped and twisted and ironic farce, because when Trump invented that playbook in 2016, when he would call them Little Marco and Lion Ted and all that kind of stuff, Crooked Hillary, when he would pivot and he would do these kinds of things, it was attractive and it was appealing and it felt righteous because he was sitting on our side. He was the voice of the people. And he was directing it against a corrupt establishment. He was fielding questions from the corrupt establishment, which was connected to Epstein, which was connected to the Podestas, which was connected to all this evil stuff. All the lies about the wars in the Middle East, all the lies about the elites, all the lies about the weird sexual stuff at Comet Ping Pong and the weird art and all of that. And Trump was fighting them on our behalf. So when he was diminutive, when he was calling them Little Marco and Lion Ted and Crooked Hillary and doing that playbook, he was a champion of the people. Now, here we are 10 years later, and it's reversed. And like I said, it's like a sick parody. It's like a bizarro parody of Trumpism, where now Trump's people represent a new establishment. It's like Animal Farm. And now the new guard is indistinguishable from the old regime. The Trumpists, Mar-a-Lago, MAGA, is indistinguishable from the Clinton machine, from the global special interests. I mean, think about this. In 2016, Trump was railing against special interests, the big banks, the international institutions, foreign governments, foreign spies. And he was even talking about how Bill Clinton was a sexual predator. Now it's a mirror image. And it's Thomas Massie and the Democrats interrogating Trump's attorney general. And they're in the position of protecting the privileged. They are protecting the pedophiles. They are protecting the elites, the sex traffickers.
Right.
You have the Democrats and Thomas Massie interrogating the Trump administration about how they are not being transparent. They're covering up for Epstein. They're covering up for the bankers. They're covering up for Ronald Lauder. They're covering up for Les Wexner. They're covering up for the Emirates, for Israel, for Ehud Barak. They're trying to save face for the global special interests, for the corrupt, for these degenerates that run the society. And Pam Bondi is doing it in this Trumpian way, and it's like a house of mirrors. It's like an evil, wicked farce. She's doing the, oh, okay, little Marco in defense of Epstein. Okay, lying lawyer. Oh, that's Trump derangement syndrome. You're a failed politician. In defense of Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner and World Jewry. Literally the sickest shit imaginable. And like I said on Friday, who are they really protecting? And this is important. People say they're pedo protectors. It is true that the people they're protecting are engaged in sexual assault, and increasingly it looks like they are protecting something more sinister. When you look at the coded language and the rest of it, at the minimum, it's sexual perversion, trafficking, prostitution, at the minimum, what can be proved beyond a shadow of a doubt. What they're really protecting, however, is
Israeli
Jewry.
Exactly.
As we talked about on Friday. Every single thing about Epstein is Jewish. Leon Black and Les Wexner, his two benefactors, Jewish. Howard Lutnick, Benjamin Black, Kevin Warsh, all of these Trump admin nominees and personnel, they're all Jewish and connected to Epstein. When you see Pam Bondi going out there as the gladiator in defense of this, talking about the stock market, it is in defense of Global Jewry, which controls this administration.
Boom. That's what we got.
And there's something really twisted about this, which is there is another lens to look at the Trump administration. A lot of people see the Trump administration as a disappointment or a failure. They look at it as a mixed bag. Well, we're getting some things, but we're disappointed with other things. We're rooting for Trump, but some things we can't get over. It's very important to have the right mental model about what is really happening. We have to categorize things and periodicize things correctly. It's very important how we conceptualize things. And I think people are conceptualizing the Trump administration all wrong. I think about the plan trusters, people that really support the president, voted for the president, and in their mind, you know, they like Trump, they agree with Trump, Trump represents the party they support, and they're looking at it like it's a race or like it's a game. And they're in the stands and they're cheering. They got their foam finger, they got their hat, and they need to keep the morale up. They got to rally and they got to clap and do the wave so that their guy on the field gets a boost and he can win the race. He can win the game. And they're looking at it like it's this back and forth. There's innings, there's quarters. You know, sometimes Trump is in the lead and he's really performing well. And sometimes he falls behind. He's not doing so well. And we got to show up for the team, win, lose, or draw, rain or shine. That's kind of how they look at it. They're looking at it like a horse race, like a baseball game.
No.
And when they see this stuff with Epstein, they say to themselves, like a fan does in the stands, they say, come on, Trump, what are you doing? You know, keep your eye on the ball. They're saying, come on, that's a terrible call. You know, what are you doing? This is how they're looking at it. This is the wrong mental model. It's the wrong way to look at it. There's another lens how you can look at the Trump administration. I don't think it's like that at all. I don't think it's a horse race. I don't think it's a baseball game. I don't think he's our team.
We're not even on the same team.
He's not our team representing us.
No.
Trump is a man, and he's representing himself. And 2 years ago, he had a lot of problems. He was a man with a lot of problems. He was facing 100 years in prison. And that was a problem that could only be solved by becoming the president. Right? You're Trump. You're one of the most hated men in the world. You're going bankrupt. You're facing 100 years in prison. And you don't just have yourself to worry about, but your whole family. Maybe you can afford to go to prison, although you don't want to. But who's going to take care of the Trump organization? And what are those people going to do when they're out of a job? So Trump has to run for office and he's got to win. Well, how does he do that? Who's going to help him win the presidency?
Mario Adelson.
Well, it's pretty clear that after October 7th,
Elon Musk.
the Jews decided that a Republican had to win, and they didn't want it to be Trump. First, they wanted it to be DeSantis. Then they wanted it to be Haley. And Trump, as a self-advocate, fought them and got the nomination. So they got stuck with Trump. But they needed him to win. And they needed him to win, maybe to do these jobs. They needed Trump to win. Why? So they could turn Gaza into a
Strip
smart
mall.
city, into a blockchain smart city. They needed Trump so they could take the West Bank. They needed Trump so they could expand the Abraham Accords in Syria and Lebanon. They needed Trump so they could get their war with Iran. They needed Trump maybe to bury the Epstein files. And one way to look at Trump is that he is like a Trojan
Puppet.
horse.
Just a puppet.
You are the sucker, actually, in this deal. It's not like Trump needed the Jewish money to get elected to help you out. No, he needed your votes to get elected to help the Jewish money out. And MAGA, the movement, is just a casualty. That's kind of how you have to look at it. For
Yeah.
them,
Yeah. I know a lot of niggas definitely talking that shit right now. I'm sorry to say this, but MAGA is cooked, y'all. After bombing Qatar, bombing Iran, well, fake doing a deal with Iran and then them getting bombed. Venezuela, even though that was a W for our economy on the low, it's still a L. What else? Yeah, it's just the files. Pam coming out saying dumbass shit. Like, yeah, it's nothing but L's coming out right now, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he's gonna be able to stay in office pretty long. Especially like what Nick said with the impeachments when 2027 comes rolling around and the Democrats steal the House. I don't see how he would be able to survive that because they're definitely gonna be looking for blood. But yeah, Pam. We need better answers than why are we talking about this? Let's talk about the stocks. You are the Attorney General. Please. We need some fucking answers why the Epstein files look like this. Shit is crazy.